reply to all your queries in a timely manner. I didn't know what I was saying yes to when Prof. Alex asked me to do this. um, yeah, but I hope I have answered everybody till date. Yeah. In the meantime, can all of you go to wait, how do I share this Slack? Not Slack, Slido link. Okay. In the meantime, can all of you go to this Slido link and post me any other question that I have not answered? Okay, or you want me to clarify anything? Post it there. If another group wants to ask the same question, just thumbs up or you tick or whatever, vote it up, so that at least I know that that question is pending many groups, so at least I can tackle it faster. Okay, so I want all of you to start posting the question. If the question is there, just vote it up so that I know that it is more important than other questions. Okay, I'll give it the next 3 more minutes for you guys to post any additional questions that you want me to clarify. Okay, what happening? Okay, sorry. Wait, only 2 questions only. So please post the questions there so that keep posting. So if the question is already there and your group um another group also agrees to it, just thumb up. Then after that I will tackle that question first. So we'll go through one by one, okay? In the meantime, I'll also wait until more people are coming in. So let's wait 2 more minutes. Hopefully more people will come in and hopefully I have more questions. Because it seems that I did a good job, it seems. I answered all the questions because there's only 3 questions so far. One more thing. We'll do it this way lah. Once I start answering the question, and if I did not answer it to your satisfaction, just don't post another question up there in the slide. It doesn't make sense. It'd be good that you can just unmute yourself and just clarify with me immediately, so we can get this over with quickly. I mean, so there won't be anything hanging after this. Okay. Okay, it's 8:05. There's about 100 and 1% dropped out. 106 people, 107 people in. So I think we'll get started. So what's going to happen is that I will go through one by one the questions. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if my answer is not satisfactory, you can always unmute yourself and clarify. Okay. Then once I go into the next question, I don't want to pull back to the previous question. So make sure that everybody is happy with the answers before we proceed to the next question. Okay. Okay, if that's the case, let's get started. So the most what is this? No, let's answer here. The most voted one is the team implemented a login for security and to store student performance. It does not impede the kids' learning experience. So is having account acceptable? Um, it doesn't matter to me whether you have an account or not. And that's the funny thing. Everybody keep asking me, having a trainer's account. I never mentioned about any account. I just want to say, I just mentioned that the administrator or the teachers or the trainers should have mechanism to log in to do, not log in, maybe I use the word login as well, although everything is login, to be able to access a certain configuration that cannot be accessed by the students. Okay, so it does not need to be an account-based thing. As long as there's a means to separate between trainers and the kids, that's all I care. Whether you want to have it account system or not, I leave it up to you. Okay, let me make it clear. But if you want to have if you're gonna have multiple kids, then probably you might need to have some way to differentiate between the kids. How you do it, like I said, it does not matter to me. Okay, does that answer your questions? Oh my god, I'm getting to sound like you guys already. Anybody want to clarify that statement? So again, the question is, the team implemented login for security and to store students' performance. I'll tell you what, let me just share my screen. So it's better that way, right? Where am I? Here. Okay. So this is the question. The team implemented login for security and to store student performance. It does not impede the kids' learning experience, so it's having account acceptable. For me, it doesn't matter to me as long as there's a means to differentiate between trainer, teachers, and kids. And if you want to have multiple different kids to log in and you want to keep track of their performance and their progress, then yes, there must be a mechanism to differentiate them. How you do it, I leave it up to you. Okay. Yeah. Next question. How again, if you have if that does not satisfy your, if you need to clarify, please unmute and ask, or you can put it in the chat, but I might not see the chat sometimes. How secure should our web portal be? What do we need to take into account? Okay, the web portal, security-wise, is sufficient for the kids to use it without impeding in their program. Meaning that it shouldn't be difficult for kids to know to use it. They don't keep asking for a password or something like that. If they want to use it, they can use it. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a case where the car can be hijacked by somebody else and be, because it is a moving device. So you can, in theory, you can, if you can hijack it, you can do some nefarious things with it, and the kids can be injured by it. Actually, you can whack the kid's ankle or something like that. We don't want it to happen. So as long as it is it's safe enough for the kids to use without them being without the risk of the car being hijacked, actually. Okay, and of course, if the portal is web based or internet based, right, which means that if they keying in their personal data, the data should be secured. But if it's a localized, then it doesn't matter because it's localized. Okay, does that answer your question? I hope so it does. Next question. The Q&As in Slack mentioned that the lesson plan today, but another mention it is optional. Kind of confusing. Okay, this question is a bit lesson plan is necessary, but mention is optional. Did I? Do you have an example? I don't remember contradicting myself. Do remember lesson plan. Can somebody clarify what do we mean by lesson plan? Somebody? This one, there's 8 of you who thumbs up, so I presume that 8 of you who agrees with this statement. So can somebody clarify with me what does lesson plan mean? Don't put another question here. We'll just ignore it. You either unmute yourself or you put in chat. The Q&A in Slack mentioned that the lesson plan is necessary, but another mention is optional. Can clarify this question? Somebody? Okay, I will. Well, somebody.
I think I can clarify.
Okay,
I
go ahead.
think this is my question. Yeah. So one of the groups asked in the Slack and
Okay.
asked if there's a need for a lesson plan, and then your answer was just yes, which was like kind of
Okay. Okay, then the other answer that I give?
yeah. Then the other one was it is up to you. So another
Okay.
group mentioned it's up to you. Yeah. then we are like not sure.
Lesson, but was the question the same now? Because probably the question could be placed differently.
Both have the word lesson plan,
Okay.
and I think what the up to you was more towards like I guess it's to the
The,
different age. Yeah,
the
one
different
of them
age
is
group,
asking
yeah.
on.
So I
Yeah.
think no, I think that one not lesson plan. I think more he was asking more on, does he needs to have a very structured or guided that could have been my understanding. So a lesson plan is necessary because if you play any game now, even if you play any game, most of the time when you start the game, they will have a mini tutorial for you to get started to understand how the whole game works, correct?
Mm.
So it should be something similar. When the kids come in, there should be a way to get them to understand how the game lah. I'm putting in quotes the game works because I mean this is for kids. So even though you are trying to have a learning outcome for them to learn a bit of logic thinking or programming, we should not make it very boring lah. So it should be a game like kind of structure. So and there should be a guide to it so that when they understand how it works. But at the same time also how do I put it? For small kids, it should be simple so that they can get used to it. They understand how to go about it. But for older kids, like secondary school kids, then you have a bit more freedom to be a bit more hands-free in a sense. You don't have to guide them so much. Enough for them to get started and then let them progress. But in terms of lesson plan, yeah, because my understanding of lesson plan is that you will have to come up with a format of how do you go. Yeah, I think now I get it. So if it's for small kids, yes, you need to have a very clear lesson plan. How do you go about letting the kids play with it? It doesn't need to be in the form of like those documents or what. It should be inbuilt into the game. So it's akin to a tutorial when you start a new game lah. For the slightly older kids, you might not need to have a very detailed one, but you should nonetheless should have something so that they know they get acclimatized to the environment, the UI and what they need to do and things like that. And how, if they want to make it a bit challenging, how do they go about it for the elder kids? For the younger kids, I mean, generally you don't want them to modify it so much. You give it to them, they play it, then let the trainers be the one making it more difficult if they need to. Or you can always have a progression, automatic progression, meaning that if they finish one, they go to the next one.
I see. Yeah, that clarifies things. Thank you.
Okay, good. Anybody else? If there's no, going once, going twice. Okay, done. Next question. Can we have one-to-one group meeting with groups since the requirement is all why got jumble up? I label every single one of you guys to reply. Anyway, if by the end of this session, you guys, if I really do not answer your queries, you can arrange. I'll try to put a time slot where you can have a 10 minutes with me per group, and that's the last 10 minutes I can offer you guys per group lah of any questions that you want me to ask. Okay, so ideally you should ask here now. If not, I will allow one group 10 minutes maximum for this week. Okay, but I need to put aside the timer. Okay, okay, that's done. The car is so limited. How much can we differ from other group? Car just can follow some sort of strip. No, not necessarily. There's an ultrasonic sensor. And I asked. Okay. There's ultrasonic sensor, and I did say you can include other sensors if you want to. So it's up to you. And my by the way, the car that the Sparrow car, I think they barely have a ultrasonic sensor. I think they have infrared only, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not only strips, can be other things also. I think the person who thinks they can only follow strips is quite limited. It might have misunderstood what is the capability of the car. Okay, I've found a car online which I bought, which only have infrared, and they are able to do. They are able to follow an object which is a white ball. They are able to follow a strip on the floor, of course. They're able to run away from a user. Meaning that the user comes to them, they will run away. and it can be remote control, of course. And all these things are done by infrared only. That's it. So it's the limitation is literally your imagination. But if you think that you need additional sensors and whatnot, by all means, ask me. I did tell you guys. You can ask me. I'm jumping into my 2104 hat. So as a faculty in charge of the 2104, do ask me if you need something that you do not know whether it can be done or not. Ask me or Prof Ian or whatever. Say, sir, I want to do this. Can ultrasonic sensor do or not? Do your own research, of course, first, but then come back to us after that. Like some of you have been asking pertaining the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and things like that, which is fine. I mean, if you can justify yourself, I won't. I mean, if you justify it sufficiently, I feel that there is some basis. Say by all means, go ahead. Okay, so ask me. If you have the sensors, by all means, you can use it. If you don't have it, if you can get it for you quickly, we will. But if it's too expensive, like don't ask me for a LiDAR, lah. Okay, that's for sure. Okay, that's done. Can we assume that the company that's selling product will take care of the maintaining, coming up with the new company instead of the trend? Okay, the learning content itself, the game itself shouldn't be just one level only, correct? There should be a means to either expand it or there's some progression to it actually. Especially when you're talking about secondary school, the elder ones, you definitely need to have a means to build your own content. Kind of like if you any of you play World of Warcraft, World of Warcraft 2, you can build your own map and things like that. Akin to that, of course, not to that detail, but akin to that, you are able to build. But for younger kids, then we can leave it up to the trainers or teachers to develop it. Okay, yeah, that's what they should be a means. Or better still, if you can make such a way that it's a randomized kind of thing. You randomize the system so that then the kids will try to attempt to solve the thing. That's a possibility also. Again, if for those of you who play World of Warcraft, two, three, I forgot, three, I think three. Yeah, do you know those multi online kind of thing or StarCraft kind of thing? You can generate your own map. You can either have a preset map or you can have a random map. Doesn't matter. Again, the purpose is to kind of get the kids to practice, so it's fine. Maintenance the portal. Why do you need to maintain the portal? The portal should be as is. Once it's built, there shouldn't be a need to maintain a portal, correct? It should work forever. I mean, there's nothing to update. The only thing you need to change is the map, and that is a localized thing, correct? Okay, I hope that answers it. Again, if I'm not answering the question, please tell me because I need to go faster because there's a lot of questions coming up. Next, can the game be played and self-maintained by students? If it's the elder students, yes. If it's the younger students, no, because they don't know how. Primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, they don't know how to self-maintain unless you can make it such a way it's so clear-cut and very clear, very simple for them to do. Then by all means, but I don't foresee them being able to understand. Or I mean, if you dumb it down so much, you might need to do a lot of things. So for the younger kids, maybe it might not be self-maintained, but for the older kids, yes, the students, the kids themselves can maintain it, or can update the content. What is the requirement for the map inside the website? Okay, the requirement is that as long as the kids see the map on the portal and see the car in real life, they are able to correlate that, oh, this is this. So because it depends on what you want to develop for your game, and for different things is different. So I can't be more specific than that. But the general idea is that as a kid, when I look at a car and when I look on the map, I said, oh, okay, I understand what's happening here. I get it. It should be intuitive. It might not be immediate, but of course, then again, you have the tutorial there, remember, to guide you to get acclimatized between the portal and the car. So when the kid look at the car, when the kid look at the portal, and they go through a simple tutorial, that at the end of the tutorial, at least they should know that, okay, whatever I see in the car, I understand what is it related to the portal and vice versa. I hope that answers the question. Okay, I don't know what you mean by animate, but it should reflect, which means that yeah, it should reflect on the car, on the portal. Okay, so don't need to animate the car. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the car doesn't need to have like like I said, as long as the kid, when he look at the portal and he look on the car, he can he can correlate it, then of course it's nicer. But if it's for younger kids, definitely you need something which is more eye candy lah. Remember, because they're kids. If they look something like a black box moving around, they'll get bored easily also. So you might want to find a way to get them to know that whatever they see in real life is the same in the portal. Okay. What Alex said, the requirements for groups are different. So for ICT cluster, is it the same requirement? I see. Uh, if you notice, right? Okay, the requirements for the other group, the CSC guys, they're very different. So you don't have to worry about that. And only ICT students are in this session now. Uh, and if you notice, your requirements by default are changing for each one of you, because it depends on the game that you're trying to develop. So if I'm going to develop the game for the older students, then your requirement will be different from the younger kids. And if you're doing for younger kids and you are doing for multiple kids, then it will be different from somebody doing younger kids and single users, you know. So it will change. So by default, the requirements are different for each one of you. It depends on how you want to design the game. Okay. Next, do we need to maintain the web portal Robotica after the development? I already answered this. This requirement tied with the 2104 project grade. Yes, indirectly, yes. Remember, in the 2104, I expect you to submit a functional and non-functional requirement for the car, to the perspective of the car. So it will be indirectly tied to the 2104 project grade. Yes, it is. Okay. So, but remember, the functional, so for the 2104, I need you to submit functional and non-functional requirement for the car and only the car point of view. Okay. So yeah, it will be and I will your marks will depend on that. Okay. Could you clarify what kind of configuration that the teacher and needs to access to? It depends on your game. If I mean those things that the kid are not supposed to be messing around with, they shouldn't have access to it. Those things that they need to access to, then they should have access to it easily. So things like I don't know. It depends. Like I said, what do you want to impart to the students? What do you want the students to see from the car that they will say that this is something that they can relate to, you know? Then if those information that they can use, it should be accessible to them. Things that they shouldn't be accessing, then it should be locked behind something. Okay. How exactly do the requirements work? Is it really different for each team? And I think I just answered that already. Are there any specific administrative requirements when a product is being used? It depends on the game again. If the game is for small kids, probably a bit more hand holding. The teacher needs to, set up few, maybe do a bit of setup, then fine. But if it's for older kids, then probably they can even do the setup themselves also. Probably a bit less hand holding. Think of it this way, lah. If I buy this toy from Toys R Us, right, and I bring it back home, if the toy is for primary school kids, the parents will probably be there to guide them. If the toy is for secondary school kids, then probably the kindergarten will play it, you will go into his room and play on your own, correct? So put yourself in their perspective. If it's for primary school kids, then you know that the parents will be there to at least get them started. But if it's for secondary school kids, then the toy will probably be played on your own. And unlikely any teachers or trainers might be there. It depends. If you wanted to make such that it will be more challenging, you can have the trainers come in to generate additional maps or things like that. But generally, it should be self-played for the elderly children. Where is that? Yeah, so that's done. Must the scope of the project include all primary and secondary school students? No, I think I mentioned it many times. You decide what is the age group that you're looking at, and you focus on that. So if you want to work on, mostly primary three onwards, so I think it as lower primary, upper primary, and secondary school. That's how I foresee it. So three broad groups. But of course, if you want to work on like upper secondary and lower secondary, also it's fine by me also. But focus on a group, and you tell me what is the group range that you're looking at. Okay, so it will definitely differ greatly from a lower primary, upper primary, and secondary school. But you specify it. Should we go about with how should we go about maintenance? It depends on how you design the game. But there should be as minimal need for maintenance as possible. It is a toy, you know. It should be self-sufficient. Is an administrator required? I would say no, because I never asked for administrator. I just asked for there's only two audience: trainer or teacher, or parent, or kids. Only two. Can the challenge building process be done in a real world, and then the challenge map will loaded onto the web platform? It's up to you. How you want to design the game for the learning outcome. You can design it on a portal, then reflect it on real life, or vice versa, or maybe a bit more open. This one I leave it up to you. If you saw the Sparrow car, it is okay. That one doesn't have a portal at all. But that one is real life. So they use cards as a means to map the whole world, correct? The real world. So it depends on how you want to do it. Either way is fine by me. But again, it should meet the kids needs to gain something from it. They need to learn a bit of logic thinking, or a bit of programming from there. Okay, and they should be able to correlate between the portal and the real car itself. If they look at the car, they look at the portal, they don't know head or tail what is happening there, then something is wrong, really. Okay, so they must be able to correlate. When you look at the map and when you look at the real car, they know, oh, okay, this is where I am. No, things like that. I understand you should at least have gone through the tutorial to be able to do that. But after tutorial, they should be clear what is on the map is what's on real life. Can the game use API for block programming? Yes, by all means. But of course, you need to suit the correct age group. Okay. Should students be allowed to self-design challenges? Yes. Uh, if for the elder children, for the younger ones, probably it'll be the trainers or teachers. Okay. What the specific information must be displayed on the portal regarding the dashboard? I think I answered it. Whatever information that will benefit in your learning outcome. So whatever information that they will kind of help them with a better understanding of what's happening, you should put it up there. Okay. Can we mandate adult supervision for the product? Then the target audience is for the. Um, I mean, if you mandate it for secondary for yes, for primary school kids, yes, you can. It is understood that you need to have some sort of adult supervision. Yes. But for secondary school kids, you should not mandate it. For primary school kids, fair enough. Does the website have to show the actual location of the car? Again, I do not know what mean actual location, because when you see actual location, you talk about GPS here. What I'm saying that if the student look at a map, it looks in the real life, they can correlate between the two. That's the minimum requirement. Can a car move forward, backward, left, right without following infrared? Yes. I mean, it can by default. You don't have to have an infrared strip. Yeah, I do not know why you think that you must have an infrared strip. You don't need to, not necessarily to have infrared strip. You can move in an open world. Okay, and then forward, backward, left, and right. It is the minimum, but there should be more than that. What about if I want to go 45 degrees turn? If I want to burn, if I want to go, 100, okay, 180 doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. 180 turn. Or what about if I want to do a curve turn, an arc turn? What about if I want to do like a loop? So rather than go forward, 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 I can say, oh, go forward 4 times. So these are the things that you guys need to think about. Remember, logic thinking doesn't mean just forward, left, back, and right. You should also be, remember there's a for loop, a while loop, and if, things like that. Regarding the activities for students, should all activities be created by us, or we can create a set of pre-made one while teacher proceeds to create more? Yes, there should be some default ones that the kids can play with, and ideally, there could be a mechanism to create more content, more maps or more challenges. If it's for primary school kids, then probably it'd be from the teachers and trainers or parents. If for more secondary school kids, then let them be the one develop their own challenges. Okay. Our idea is like Minecraft code or Scratch. Drop command to a workspace and execute the command sequentially. Do we need to do something more original? Uh, no, this seems fine, but the commands is something that is a bit more I'm more curious about lah. So like I said, the command should not be just front, back, left, and right. It should be slightly more than that actually. There should be some form of logic thinking, meaning that they should have loops, they should have ifs, they should have conditions, so that you kind of progress the student's ability to think a bit more and more as they go along. Okay, so it shouldn't just be front and back, left and right, or they should be able to maybe they can even develop their own command also. I want a command that can spin around 3 times. Why not? Yeah. Can challenges be predefined by us instead of giving the kids a bit to build one? I answered this. For secondary school kids, they should be able to create it. For primary school kids, it's fine for the trainers or teachers to develop it. Nonetheless, regardless, there must be a mechanism to build more additional challenges, either for primary school or secondary school. Just that for primary school, the trainers or teachers or parents do it. For secondary school, they can do it themselves. Prof, is the age group is not limited to only primary school students? I think answer is it can be primary, it could be secondary, it could be lower primary, upper primary, and secondary. You decide. Can framework be used for web portals? This one you have to ask Prof Alex and Prof Check because this is very specific to the requirements for the site. The other one not for me to answer. Sorry about that. SE students need to build the web portal and not just the robot car. If majority agree they focus on building the car, they don't build the web portal. No. SE students and I students both have to build a portal. Just that unfortunately the SE students also need to build a car also. So when you look at the portal itself, it should be divided. In my opinion, it should be divided equally among the 4 or 5 of you in the 2101 or 2201 subject. But when you come to the car itself, it should be split among the 2104 students in the team. Okay. Remember, these are two different. The portal is graded by Prof Check, Prof Alex. The car is graded by the other me by the not Mr. Client, by Prof Ozzy. Okay. So do differentiate the two. Portal is by Prof Check, Prof Alex. The car is by Prof Ian and me. So it is separate. So when you look at the portal, all the members in the team must build the portal. Not only the IS student, the SE students. When you look at the car, it's only the SE students because the IS students are not part of that subject. Okay. Prof, the way you say like primary school students want everything like don't need to do. So what's the marking criteria? Is it better to do primary school students? Not necessarily. Primary school students can be more challenging. Remember, they are meant to be. When I look at the primary school ones, it has to be simple for them to do. I will make my primary one, my 7-year-old girl play with a game. Okay, if she say she don't understand how to do, you die, man. I have a 7-year-old girl waiting to play this car. So if she says she don't know what to do, Jose Liao, okay. Anyway, so it's not as easy. I think equally as difficult. For secondary school kids, you need to do more challenging things. But of course, it's you're letting the kids manage it on your own. For primary school kids, they have a trainer or teacher to guide them, but you have to make it simple enough for them to understand. So I think both of them are equally challenging. Can we make changes from what was submitted in the M1 report now? Okay, according to Prof Alex, do clarify with him, Prof Alex and Prof Check, you have to make updates. So whatever after today, you make updates and you upload them. I don't know where he'll expect you to upload them. Please check with him. Okay. But you don't update the M1 report. I think you update another report, but you have to make now you have a clearer understanding, you have to update your report, but not the M1 one. It's something else. Please clarify with Prof. Alex later on at 9 o'clock. What if the IS student all don't want to do anything? So two students within a span of time we have an idea build the car and this one you have to ask Prof. Alex and Prof. Chang. So now I'm sorry because I don't take care of the IS student yet. So I cannot I cannot do any I cannot mandate them to do anything for the car. But for the portal, Prof. Alex and Prof. Jack can mandate them. So please, for this part, bring it up to Prof. Alex. What if SC student lazy and okay, I'm not gonna answer that already. Prof, the way you say like primary school, you answer it, yeah. So it's toy or tool for it's both. It's it's a it's a tool for students to learn, but it should be perceived as like a playing a game. Okay, so it should be a toy that teaches certain learning outcomes. Okay, I hope that answers that question. So it is both. It is a toy and a tool for learning. I mean, there's a lot of tools, toys out there that meant to teach children certain things. Correct. So the same thing. It's just a toy that teaches a student certain things. Prof, for virtual map, is it we must create a world? Oh, okay, somewhat unrelated. But how does the grading work for 2102? 2101 will be marked on a portal, 2104 will be marked purely on the car. Okay, I hope that's clarified. 2101 will mark on the portal. So I'm here today as Mr. Client. Okay, but when I mark 2104, I'll mark purely on the car. I will not even bother about the portal for 2104. 2101 will be marked purely based on the portal. Okay. Must the car have the ability to learn a command that it has executed return to its portal? Must the car have the ability to learn the command that executed return portal? If it helps with the learning outcome, then yes. And I think it does actually in a way, because if sometimes the student might not be able to write the command, like even my little girl, so she doesn't know how to put it in sequentially when you come to the portal. But in real life, she knows, oh, I need to go straight, left, right. So it is a way to teach them from real life to programming. So yes, I think it'll be actually I think this is an excellent thing actually to be able to teach students how to learn programming logic thinking from real life. Prof, for virtual map, is it must be create a world of or just simple design can doesn't need to be a World of Warcraft kind of thing. I'm just using that as an analogy. It's a map or a challenge that can be created. Okay. So you can create a map using a list of text or something like that, or something that that is somewhat easy to do lah. If you do scratch coding, is it a must to implement the drag and drop feature or can change the way? Again, for kids, drag and drop is the easiest way. If you ask them to start typing in commands, they will, even you guys also make mistakes in typing in text also. Copy and paste also can make a mistake also. So I mean, you expect primary school kids to not make a mistake. So drag and drop is always the simplest of it. And I'm sure Prof. Genie would have grilled you on this also, the simplicity of all these things. So please, I mean, it depends on the kids level, but I would feel drag and drop is the way to go, especially for primary school kids. Okay. For the muscle to triple, I still ask Prof. Alex. Can the car be like Grand Theft Auto car and the student and teaches a certain moral and ethics? It could be a secondary thing, but the primary thing is still logic thinking. Okay. The primary thing is still logical thinking. If you want to include morals and ethics, excellent. It'll be very, very nice. But again, the primary target would always be the what they call that logical thinking or programming. The student be able to freely drive the car. You may sit on it and drive, and no. But if you're talking about control the car, if you want to, that will be a nice thing for kids to have. You can call it the play mode, so that you can just use it as a remote control car for a while if you're bored. I mean, it is a toy slash a tool, right? So why not? If you want them to have a chance to play around with the car, to get a feel of the car. Can the car detect black ticks on the floor as opposed to using infrared strips? This one, the SE students, you can ask Prof. Fauzi, okay? Mr. Klein doesn't know. Must the car have some form of self-navigation using strips or sensors? This one ask Prof. Fauzi or Prof. Ian, okay? Don't ask Mr. Client here. Prof, SE students very stressed. Both one more tied together. If one see me, the other one also see me. Not necessarily. Ask this stressed student to talk to Prof. Fauzi about or Prof. Ian about the marking scheme for 2104. Okay, 2101 I not in my hands. The one that you have to ask Prof. Alex and Prof. Check. At this rate, might as well do toy for primary school saying they can't do much and won't be penalized. Why do we overcomplicate and make more trouble for ourselves? Like I said, I feel that there's both are equally difficult for primary school, for secondary school. For primary school, you will have to make it clear. Remember, Minecraft, even at primary school level, they're learning while loop, for loop, if loop, and conditions already. So you still have to implement it. For secondary school kids, maybe you can do something a bit more fun actually. So it depends. Personally, I think they are equally as challenging actually. What's the point of virtual map if you're going to look at the physical calculator? No. It's learning programming. So you need to have a portal to. I mean, if you're just a car only, then it'll be same as a sparrow car. They don't understand the. It's very difficult for them to kind of correlate with the logical thinking. So the portal is meant to facilitate the ability to teach them logical thinking or programming. Okay. Does the action reflect life to the car? Yes, meaning the car press curve action, the car should reflect real life right away. It depends on your game itself, whether it's right away or not, but it should reflect one way or another. So whether you want to make it real time or not, it depends on the game design and the learning outcome. But generally, if the car turn curve, eventually or immediately the car turn curve, that one is up to you. But it should turn curve also. It should reflect. Does the action reflect live to the car meaning the case yes. Did I click wrongly? If the virtual map needs to reflect reality, the car needs to learn the past first. Does the car have time to? No. It depends on how you design the game. You can say that okay, this is my map that I want to work with, then work on that. Or you say okay, this is my open map and how do I go about it? It depends on the game that you're trying to design. Okay, if you feel that the car needs to learn the area first and map it, then you work on it, by all means. That's fine by me. Is it too late to change the requirement of I do not know. You have to ask Prof. Like the Prof. Check on that. Does the student need to stop the car digitally or stop physically, or the car can be sufficient? This one depends on how you design the game. But ideally, the car should stop digitally lah. But sometimes the car will you logically you give it an area of 1 meter by 1 meter, but in actual fact you only have half a meter by half a meter. Then eventually the car is going to bang onto something, so you might need to physically stop it also. But ideally the car should be stopped digitally. For the one it can be something fully with the car. Can we put the features in a portal form? This one you ask Prof. Alex. Don't need to animate the car on the map. I answered this already. Does the initial setup have to be performed by students? Does the initial setup have to be performed by students, or can a teacher help the students for initial stage? For primary school kids, yeah, maybe the teacher, the parent, or the trainer can be there to help with the initial setup. That is fair assumption. For secondary school kids, they should be able to do it on their own. How long will the student be using this product? Until they outgrow their age group. So if they are in primary 1 and you are working for lower primary, they should be able to use the product until they're primary 3 to learn the learning outcomes. If they are in upper primary, then if the product is meant for upper primary, so for primary 4 to primary 6, they should be able to use it. And the same for secondary school. Can we assume that teachers provide instruction in real life so that this is only valid for primary school kids? For secondary school kids, it should not be. But again, once set up, the game should be self-explanatory, meaning that once let's say for example, I set up the game for my little girl, then I should go through the tutorial with her probably. Then after that, she can own time, own target after that. I shouldn't need to be there perpetually. It's only the initial setup that it should be, I will probably need to work with her. After that, she should be able to, go through the different challenges, and it will progress through on her own, with very minimal interaction from me, even from the primary school also. So it should be simple enough such that eventually they don't need me to intercede. Okay. Can we assume that teachers provide instruction? Wait, oh, I think I closed something accidentally. Too bad. For our M2 and M3, okay, this one you have to ask Prof. Alex, Prof. Check. Must the car be able to be navigated using sensors only, meaning without control level? Uh, it depends on what you're trying to design. It could be a combination of both. It could be the car will have sensors to detect its physical presence. What is physically around them. But at the same time, it will take command on what to do next, actually. So it's a mix of both. So so it depends on how you want to design it, but it should be a mix of both. A kid is a student, okay? Unless you literally mean kid as a little goat. So if you can teach a little goat, I'll be very impressed. But yeah, student and a kid, yeah, they are the same thing. Do you regret being the client? Yes, I do. Actually, not so much actually. Truth be told, whatever you guys are developing, I'm hoping that a few of the projects can be used for underprivileged kids in real life. Whatever you guys are building, hopefully it can be polished to the point where it can be used by underprivileged kids in Singapore, in childcare and things like that, in after school care, things like that. So whatever you guys are building are literally meant to help eventually our underprivileged kids in Singapore. So I hope that will motivate you a little bit more to build something that they can use at least, to at least get them excited about programming. When they look at the car, then they learn about logical thinking about programming. So I hope that will help them. So anyway, just to let you guys know. So whatever you guys are building, I'm hoping that a few of them can be used for the kids in Singapore, for the underprivileged kids in Singapore. How to make the physical but if you feel that the project is so good that you want to sell it, by all means, we are here to help you guys to commercialize it if you want to also. How to make the physical map to follow the digital map? That's where you need to think about that lah. Students arrange themselves on the floor. What if they don't follow the digital map? This one, I think you are asking this question because you don't understand what's happening, because you design the game, so you need to know what is the context and things like that. So and then you have a tutorial to guide the students to acclimatize themselves. So yeah, because this question is a bit, I think you're yourself a bit lost. Thanks, McLife. I think I put to ask you. Big ups for answering it. Yeah, you're welcome. Like I said, I really hope that many of you can come up with a product that we can let the kids play with it. Of course, I will test it with my little girl first. She is the guinea pig. She been asking me for the past 2 years for a car that she can play with. So yeah. But generally, it's meant for the underprivileged kids in Singapore. Does the obstacle in a game need to be reflected in the virtual map too? Yes, definitely. Remember, whatever the kids see in real life must be reflected in the portal. It doesn't need to be like actual same picture lah. But I mean, if it detects an obstacle, you can draw a box or there's something similar shape. Then of course it's good enough lah. At least they know there's something blocking them there. Uh, must we have tutorial level portal teach? Yeah lah. I mean, okay, obviously the two of you have never played games before. Any game, they should have a little bit of tutorial before you start. And tutorial, I don't mean like our class tutorials. No. This is like a guide on how you get it with the interface and things like that. So there should be some form of a tutorial to get them acclimatized. So like, okay, no, this is the car, this is the portal. How do they interact with each other? Yes, they should have, regardless of whether primary school or secondary school. Of course, for primary school, it should be easier for them to understand. For secondary school, it can be a little bit, it can make it simpler because they are slightly more matured, so it's easier to explain to them. Can we don't build a web portal for teachers and students? We assume teachers give instruction. No, it must be portal based. It's not because you need to build a portal for the teachers, because there are certain configurations and settings that only the teachers and trainers can do, and the students shouldn't be doing them. So it should have access to the portal. Due to COVID, so we are unable to work together on the desired product and product testing because the deadline. This one, okay, for the car thing, it's only work in two, so no problem. What you can still work in pairs, what? So I have no issues with that. 2104. For the portal, you can work online also. We talk about portal here. Everything is software. So I don't see it having difficulty, but this one you should bring it up to Prof. Check and Prof. Alex, because the issue will be for 2101 and 2201, not with 2104. 2104, no issues. Work in pairs. You're safe. Can we show a 3D model of a car instead of a map that shows the car? Again, as long as the student see the real car, see the portal, and he can correlate between the two, that's what he wants. So I'm not mandating it must be a map. As long as the learning outcome is met, and when he look at a car in real life, he look at a car in the portal, he said, oh, okay, this is what is happening. No, these are the commands that I'm giving, or this is a command that is being followed. That's the important thing. So ultimately, the aim is, the final outcome is, they must learn a bit of logical thinking. Well, we have three people for how to meet. Then you meet pair and pair lah. You meet first two here, then another day first two. Anyway, you have three boards. Anyway, this person who's asked, the three of you who's asking this question, you can ask me during 2104. Okay, let's not waste the time here. We've only got 7 minutes left. Can a tutorial be separate document like user manual? You can, but how many of you read user guides and manual? So, truthfully, uh, you can't expect kids to go through manual or user guide. It has to be part of the game itself, or part of the setting up itself. It cannot be. It, yeah, it if you put it in the user manual, then might as well you don't do it, because it's a bit useless, all right. So it should be part of the game itself. Can we add a page in a web portal for the tutorial? Or need to be? Yeah, it can be a separate thing also. It's fine. But typically when you play games, I think this person who asking me definitely have not played a game before in his or her life. You definitely need, when you play a game, automatically, like it or not, they will force you to do a tutorial, like it or not. Maybe you can allow them to skip it if you want, but definitely the tutorial should come in automatically, because if you put it separately, right, people might not click on it, and then they might not know how to use the tool. And that's where the problem comes in. Okay. So maybe make it kind of a forced tutorial that can be skipped. That makes more sense. You don't feel like no. I will condition her to appreciate how the car looks like. Okay. Anyway, she have seen more weirder cars in my house, so don't worry about it. I have a ton of different electronics in my house. Can have lesson plan, then the first lesson is teach go through the tutorial? Yes, that should be it. The first lesson should be a tutorial that guide you through the interfaces and how to go about it. Definitely. Can we request an additional Wi-Fi modem so that both can debug networking at home, so it will make it harder to meet up? I do not know. Actually, that's a good question. I do not know whether we have enough or not. Uh, Let me check on that. But if we do, at the end, I can only have first come, first serve only. It's very hard for me to say otherwise. We might not have enough actually to give every team an additional one more, unfortunately. Okay, sorry about that. But let me check on this. So you asked me during 2104. Oh, can we get interview session? No, you don't. You asked me. Okay. Yeah. What do you call that? You ask her, she will ask for more things. That you guys will regret asking her. Okay. She's asking for 1,000. She's asking for the moon. She's asking for a car that can follow her anywhere she goes. She's asking for a car that can talk to her. You really want to talk to her? Then your requirements will shoot up to the roof, man. So we don't have to have tutorial again. We just okay. In the lesson plan, a tutorial should be something that it should be Yeah, okay, I cannot blame you for not understanding. In a lesson plan, typically the first thing you should have is a tutorial on to guide you through how do you start getting started with the thing. A lesson plan is a teaching thing, which is akin to tutorial. So a tutorial and lesson plan, somewhat of the same thing. A lesson plan is a plan for a tutorial. So ultimately, if the tutorial should be, and the tutorial should go through the kids is the one who should go through tutorial, not the parents. The parents doesn't need to go through tutorial. The parents and trainers only need to go through the configuration. The kids is the one who have to go through tutorials. The teachers and the trainers can be there for the lower primary and upper primary, but the kids is the one who have to go through tutorial, not the parents. If the parent going to tutorial, then it's a different case area. Then you different target audience. Can the students like teachers create their own? Again, I'm okay with the teacher and student to create one physical map, but eventually it should reflect in a web portal, one way or another. So ideally, I mean, you can insert it by keying a drawing something like that, but it should reflect, because if not, if you create your own physical map, then it doesn't reflect in a web portal, then it defeats the purpose. Then the students might not appreciate what is happening in real life. What's the point of reflecting on the cuff physically if you can fit it on the web? Eh? Okay, I don't understand your question totally. You point of reflecting on the no. You reflect whatever is in the physical to the portal and vice versa. I don't understand what you mean reflecting. Reflecting on the car physically. Sorry, I don't understand this question. I apologize. Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, if you're a bit concerned about again, ask Prof Alex and Prof Jack on what will you be graded for the O1. And for the O4 students, do ask me what am I graded. But I've answered most of you guys already for the O4. But if you're still not too sure, just ask me, okay? So you have 2 more minutes. So if you still think that you this one you have to. I hope it's not the O4 teammates. If it's the O4 teammates, you talk to me. If it's the O1 teammates, you talk to Prof Jack, Prof Alex. Okay. You can, but I'll only give you 10 more minutes to ask me for each group. Maximum 10 minutes. Okay. Then you have to arrange with me the 10 minutes through Zoom, of course. So you better prepare carefully and you quickly ask me any question that you want. I will allow each group to ask me to Q&A me for 10 more minutes and that's it. Okay. Last chance. But when is it? We'll try to schedule it during this week as best as I can. It might they might overflow to at night also unfortunately, because there's only so much time I have in a day. Yeah, only if you don't wait. If you say so, I not for me to claim. I want to end myself. Please don't. And three of you agree with the person. Wow, you guys said this, man. How to arrange one-to-one? You promised. That's a good question. Okay, give me by the end of today, I'll put up a schedule. Then all of you just need to fill it up. Thing. I will ask Prof Alex to put it inside your news group by the end of today. Then you just need to fill in your team name. Okay. Then I'll just go in and Q&A you guys. Coordinate connection the road without obstacle. You need obstacle. If there's obstacle, you need obstacle. Okay, yeah, no more questions. Last three. Does this mean the project clients will not be active? Oh yeah, you got profit. Okay, I'll ask him to post it up there. Yeah. It will no more be active. Yes. How do you arrange one to one? You promise. I will post. I will ask. I will arrange it with Prof Alex. Probably I'll put it on the Slack. Put out the timetable and you pick a slot, a 10-minute slot, and I'll see you guys on Zoom. Do we still have to reflect the physical magnitude decides to modify real life might be always good? No lah. I mean, it's like any game you have. If you go beyond that, then you shouldn't expect it to work lah. Okay. I mean, a bit of common sense here lah. Okay, you're welcome. Sorry, I think we better go off already. Sorry about that. Okay, then thank you very much. I will liaise with Prof Alex on the details on how to go about it. Okay. Okay. Bye bye guys. Take care. Sorry about that. Go for your lecture. Prof. Alex is waiting for you guys.